I think we can all agree that life is hard. Being an adult is literally just trying to keep your shit together. Life is just full of ups and downs that we pretty much have almost zero control over. But what we do have control over is our inner world and what's going on inside of us. And that is kind of like the safe haven in an adult's life. Every adult can master inner peace and can maintain a safe haven within themselves. Every single adult has that capability, but it is a skill. Your mind is a muscle, your brain is a muscle, and you have to continue doing it over and over and over again. So in this video, I'm gonna show you and give you the tools to essentially cultivate inner peace when everything around you is just chaotic. This is true sovereignty, where we are mastering our minds so we can reclaim our peace. On this channel, we do talk about cultivating stability and inner peace. We also talk about mental health, some philosophy, questioning the meaning of life, why we're here. So if that stuff interests you, I am a brand new content creator and I definitely appreciate any interactions I can get. I definitely feel my purpose on this earth is speaking my truth and my messages out and trying to get that out to people. Also follow my socials, Treu Sovereignty on TikTok, Instagram. And yeah, let's get into the video. Inner peace is kind of like building your emotional maturity. Life is less about what happens to you and how you respond to it. So while emotionally mature people seem to maintain this sense of inner peace and stoicism, emotionally immature people are busy reacting to everything. Essentially putting a label on events in their life according to how they feel about them. Life is actually a neutral experience, but because humans experience emotions, we tend to put a label on it, good or bad, right? Let me give you an example. If somebody loses their job, they would consider that to be bad. And it makes a lot of sense, right? It doesn't feel good to lose a job. You gotta go out and look for another one. You're not bringing in any money besides maybe unemployment, if even. There's lots of things that make losing a job seem really bad. But what if losing your job was actually a good thing? And it leads you to a job that's a better fit for you, one where you're making more money, one where you're more valued, one that's just aligns with you so much better. It's almost like the universe was protecting you and redirecting you. And that's kind of how people with inner peace and emotional maturity perceive things. And the things that I will show you in this video, the tools, will kind of teach you how to get there in that mindset naturally. Just remember, none of the tools that I mention in this video are a requirement to reach inner peace, but the more tools that you put into practice, or the more habits and behaviors in this video that you put into practice, the easier it will be to find inner peace. So the first one is true solitude. And what do I mean by true solitude? Well, essentially that means live alone, be single, and have minimal contact with family and friends. And I suggest that you do this for an entire year at least. Sometimes it's more beneficial for more than that. And this is because you need to get to know yourself. You need to know who you are. And the only way to do that is to be with yourself. People are mirrors for you. That's what people are. And when you're constantly just in a feedback loop from other people's perspectives, you're not exactly getting who you are truly. So when you're alone for long stretches of time, you will notice that you will get to know yourself on another level. And getting to know yourself is incredibly important for reaching inner peace. Other people are not only distractions, but they're influencing your personality. If you notice, you act different around every single person. You act different in front of your family, then you act in front of your friends, then you act in front of your coworkers. So you need to be by yourself to fully get to know who you truly are. You need to see yourself go through pain and challenges without other people around, helping you, trying to make you feel better, influencing your decisions. You need to learn how to become completely independent without relying on anyone else. Totally independent in every single way. Emotionally, mentally, financially. You need to learn how to do those things. Because if you don't, there will always be a part of you that thinks they need to rely on somebody else. They need to go to somebody else for help. They need to depend on somebody else. Now, I'm not saying you can never ask for help, but I'm saying that you need to prove to yourself that if every single person vanished, you would be confident enough to help your own self through whatever you needed to do. This is more for you than it is for anything else. It's kind of getting your mind to trust yourself, getting your mind to realize that you are very powerful alone. You're not ostracizing yourself, you're not pushing people away. You're just taking the time to get to know yourself and realize your power, your confidence, your abilities, your skills, and helping yourself realize that you can do it all by yourself, because you can. And once you master this, you will stop being a victim. You will stop being a victim of your circumstances, because you have confidence in yourself and you know you can get through it mentally, emotionally, and physically. But the last reason why you need to be in solitude for a little while is because you need to learn how to detach yourself, your identity, how you view yourself from your external reality. Detach yourself from your job. You are not your job, you are not your career. I'm not only Emily the graphic designer. I am many other things, and our true identities, we should realize that we are very powerful beings having a human experience. And in that, we will realize that we are much more powerful, our minds are much more powerful than we think. And our energy, our mindsets, the things that circulate in our mind will influence our external reality. And when you detach yourself from the things in your external reality, like your material items, your family, your friends, your hobbies, your job, and the clothes you wear and the money you have, when you detach yourself from all that and you realize you are something much, much greater, then you can literally lose everything in your life, and you will realize that you still have value, you still have power, and you have the power to not only start over and change your life, but you could do it bigger and better than you did it before. And that is the power of true solitude. Number 2, anticipate change and challenges by setting yourself up for success. In the smallest way, this could be, well, if you want to wake up early to go to the gym in the morning and cultivate discipline in your life, set your clothes out, get the coffee ready to be made, get anything physically that you need ready to go. Make your phone, over in the corner of the room for your alarm to go off, so you actually have to get up and get out of bed to shut your alarm off. That's just one simple way. But other things could be like always having a second source of income in case you lose your job. And on an even bigger scale, it could be preparing yourself for a power outage, whether it's weather related or grid related, whether that means having a generator, clean water, extra food and other means of cooking food that are not attached to the power grid. Just being prepared physically for everything, just anticipating challenges and changes that will naturally surface in our human lives. When you do that, your mind can actually relax and focus on the task at hand, as opposed to you not being prepared at all in any way, shape, or form for a disaster to strike. Whatever that disaster is, it could be a very small disaster, or, it could be you deciding just not to go to the gym because you're too lazy, you're too tired, you're too cold. So always anticipate life's changes, trials, and tribulations, because that will help you be more in the present moment, as opposed to constantly worrying and being in fear, which are definitely low vibrational energies that you're going to be putting out into the world, which is not what you want. Number 3, you need to change your mindset. Number 1, you need to first radically accept that everything comes with a price. No matter what happens, if you get your dream job, that will come with stress. If you become a millionaire, what do they say? They say more money, more problems. If you get that dream partner, well, eventually the honeymoon phase will fade and the relationship will turn into work and choice as opposed to chemistry. So you need to radically accept that every single thing comes with a price. People think about having dreams and goals, and they think that they will be happy once they reach those dreams and goals. And I'm not saying you won't be, but there will still be trials and tribulations and difficult moments that you will have to overcome, even when you are living your dream life. There will still be difficult moments. So change your mindset to realize that you will never be fully happy or satisfied. Nothing will ever fully satisfy you. Actually, being happy just in the present moment and appreciating what is around you in the present moment is really the closest you will ever get to satisfaction. Is if in every single moment you're appreciative, you're grateful, and you're just enjoying moving through life as it is, as opposed to wishing it was something else. Another way you can change your mindset is by turning doubt and troubles and trials and tribulations and thinking of them as challenges to overcome, not as setbacks or excuses to give up. So anytime you're experiencing a hard time, realize it's just another challenge that you need to overcome. Think about it as like a game. And the game of life is pretty difficult. We're living it on difficult mode, right? So think of it as like defeating the boss in a game. And once you do that, it becomes a little more different, and you start to look at your challenges as opportunities and learning moments as opposed to a punishment. Do it tired, do it hungry, do it poor, do it sad, do it depressed. Just do it and get it done. Look, you gotta realize that in the end, typically everything works out, especially for people with a good attitude, a good mindset, and a great work ethic. I'm not saying work yourself to the bone, but if you're putting energy and focus into something, and you know that that something has potential, you can do it. If you've seen other people do it, you can also do it. Everybody has a different mindset, a different way of doing things, a different way of thinking. There's nothing on this planet is original. Everything is saturated at this point. So the best way to think about it is that you are unique. You have a unique perspective, a unique way of speaking, saying, and doing things. And somebody out there is going to benefit from that. Just realize that most likely you're going to be okay, no matter what. And that is really the mindset you got to have. All right, this is the last point that I will address, and that is you must learn how to process your emotions without running away from them. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, a young person, an old person, you need to harness this skill, or else your entire life is going to be chaotic. I highly suggest getting sober. You don't have to be an addict of anything to get sober. You can just do it because you want to. And the reason is because sobriety opens you up to a world where you have to face everything. You have to raw dog life. And that is what's going to truly help you grow. Now, like I said, none of this stuff is required for inner peace necessarily. But again, the more behaviors, tools, and habits you acquire from this video, the closer you will get and the more you will have inner peace. So, I know sobriety is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. I'm newly sober. You know, I'm not somebody that's been straight edge my whole life. I literally just got sober, and that was because I wanted to succeed. And I realized that things like marijuana and alcohol were just holding me back. They slow your brain down. They make you complacent with how things are now, as opposed to being sober, which kind of lights a fire under your ass. And it's kind of like, what the fuck are you doing? Get off your ass and work. That's what sobriety is. Sobriety cultivates boredom, which a lot of the time we like to run away from. Believe me, I get it. I would say 15 years doing substances, I was really running from boredom a lot of the time, even more so than negative emotions. I was more so running from boredom. But boredom cultivates creativity, new ideas. And again, it lights that fire under your ass to say, there's nothing to do, so figure it out. Figure something out to do. I suggest being productive 90% of your day. And productivity does not always mean making money. Sometimes it means instead of scrolling on your phone, instead of watching TV and movies, which you can do, obviously, don't come for me. But instead of doing that, make a puzzle, you know, read a book, make a video, cook a meal, bake something, take a pottery class, draw, use your fine motor skills, woodworking, glass blowing. I honestly don't care what it is, but productivity is definitely more than just making money. Productivity to me is anything that strengthens your brain, your fine motor skills, your body, your physical body. Anything like that, to me, is productivity. So yes, productivity can be incredibly fun. You know, being sober has actually made me more in tune with my life. You know, whereas before, it was like, oh, if I do this high or this drunk, it's gonna make it a lot more interesting, a lot more entertaining, music sounds better, whatever, food tastes better. But after you've been doing it for so many years, you realize it's actually pulling you away from your life. It's disconnecting you from your life. And when you start to engage with life in sobriety and enjoy life in sobriety, you actually feel those feelings naturally. There's this one woman I was talking to, a friend of mine. She's sober. She doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't do anything. She said that she's high on life all the time. And at the time, I was not sober, obviously. And I was like, wow, what the hell does that feel like? Now I know. Being intoxicated also heightens emotions that have been harbored within you. If you're angry, you're gonna be more angry. If you're sad, you're gonna be more sad. It's gonna distort your reality. So how do you process your emotions? You wanna process your emotions by going into your room, being in some type of solitude, and letting it out. Letting it out, letting yourself cry. Sometimes it happens out of nowhere, and you might have to hold it off till later, but choose an appropriate area to go and cry, or punch a pillow, or scream into a pillow or something. You need to process them, you need to validate yourself. You need to parent yourself through your, I want to say, intense emotions. And be the parent that you always needed, because the reason we can't process our emotions is because our parents never taught us how. They either villainized us or demonized us or told us we were annoying because we had perceived negative emotions. We were crying or yelling or mad or whatever. And they would put us down and tell us to shut up and punish us anytime we were feeling a negative emotion. So we grew up not knowing what to do with our negative emotions or our intense emotions. And instead we bottle them up and they come out and they explode at inappropriate times. So in order to stop doing that, you need to process your emotions every time you feel them without numbing, without running away. You go into your room. You know, for men, this might sound like you're gonna be a pussy, but you're not. It's not. If you know how to process your emotions, you're incredibly strong. You're incredibly brave. You're incredibly intelligent. Men are taught to push down their emotions. And that's one of the weakest things you can do as a man or a woman. Doesn't matter the gender. This is not gender specific. Go into your room, an appropriate area, a car, whatever. And you can journal, you can meditate, you can think about the bad thing that's occurring or the bad emotions you're feeling. Validate yourself. Say, I'm angry. I'm angry because ... I feel like I was betrayed. I feel like I was wronged. And then do whatever it takes to validate yourself. Say, it's okay. You know, you have a right to be angry. You have a right to be frustrated. You have a right to be fed up. You have a right to be exhausted. You know, this might be a little bit on the weirder side, but give yourself a pat. Give yourself a hug. Rub your shoulder. Self-soothe. It helps. Scientifically, it's been proven to actually help. If that feels a little too gay for you as a man, rub your hands together. If any type of rubbing on the body, okay, that sounded dirty, sorry. Any type of self-soothing action on the body, not in a dirty way, has been proven to actually mimic self-soothing from a parent or another human being. So, self-soothe yourself. Don't be afraid to do it. You're alone, right? Who's gonna laugh at you? Who's gonna look at you weird? You're totally alone. Don't feel ashamed. Don't feel weird. Never shame yourself. Stop fucking shaming yourself. Seriously. We need to learn that we are not shameful people. We're human beings. We have emotions and we need to release them, which is the next step. Release your emotion. Stop holding resentment. Stop holding on to hatred, resentment, angry emotions. Let it release. Let it flow. Let them come in, feel them, and release them. Realize emotions are temporary. Every emotion is temporary. Happiness, euphoria, anger, sadness, depression. Typically, they're temporary. They're not going to stay with you, especially if you learn how to process them, feel them, and release them. So that's kind of a way to do it, and it's a skill, and it's something that you need to practice over and over and over again. It's like going to the gym and building your muscles. It's just another muscle you need to build. So if you master all of these skills, all of these behaviors, you will then become a master of your inner reality. And this will cause you to be more stoic and more calm during life's storms, which are inevitable. It doesn't mean you're going to become an emotionless sociopath, okay? It just means that you're going to become less shakeable. Your outer reality is going to affect your inner reality a lot less. And in that, you'll be able to take on bigger and better challenges. It's almost like it's preparing you for your next level in life. A lot of the time, the older you get, the harder life gets. The more successful you get, the harder life gets. The more wins you get, the more losses you get. And that's the thing. Each time you get stronger and stronger and stronger, and you can handle it more and more and more. Remember, your inner reality, your mindset, your energy is translating to your outer reality. So people with a victim mindset, a lot of the times they're going to find themselves stuck where they don't want to be, stuck making the same money and experiencing the same day over and over and over again. That's why you see people who just never change. They haven't changed since high school. There's that meme like, oh, I bet you peaked in high school. You know, it's like, that's why you see these types of people, because they have a victim mindset. They have a limited mindset. Once you open up your world, realize you're free, realize you're powerful and that you can do whatever you want, and have that better mindset change, you're gonna see your external reality change along with it. If you can look a terrible situation in the face and alchemize that and turn it into a learning opportunity as opposed to a punishment or life happening to you, oh my God, you can change the outcome. You can change it to bigger, brighter days. Remember the job I mentioned? If you lose your job, it feels terrible at first, but you can actually alchemize that, get a bigger, better paying job, or even maybe a less stressful job. You never know. Life's not happening to you, it's happening for you. And the universe knows you deserve better, so why don't you realize that yet? You know, just face it. Sometimes we grow out of things in our life and we get comfortable, we get complacent. And sometimes life changes when we're not ready, when we're not prepared. But that's life and the universe, God, whatever you believe, saying, you're better than this and it's time to move on. You will become less terrified of the ebbs and flows of life, and you will become like the river. The river doesn't resist the flow, the river just flows. And that's what you will become. And that is just so damn beautiful. If you like this type of content, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You know, I'm going through one of the most difficult periods of my life right now. But somehow I have maintained my inner peace. And I've come very far, you know. Even maybe a year or two ago, I would not be as peaceful as I am right now if I were experiencing what I'm experiencing now back then. I've grown so much, and it really only took a year to get to this place, which is why I recommend a year in solitude. So that's why I'm making this video today. If I can do it, you can do it. So thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it as a new content creator, just looking to help people. And until next time, I will see you in the next video.